Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at...
Pardon the interruption for a very important news update.
This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther, farther, farther. Theme hits loud, then the grips come off. Call out the card, call every payoff. Botches, legends, titles, and heat. Pay-per-view nights, run it back, repeat. They slam, we analyze. Move for move, every feud, every bruise, every pivot move. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. No script, just true. Every jab breaks through. From the bell to the brawl. Name the show. We want it all. 1, 2, 3. This is no holds barred. We go hard, we go harder. In the ring, on the mic, every shot is no holds barred. Feel the charge, feel the armor. Bobby Josh in your brain, turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther. Turn it up, go farther.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, NHB Extra, No Holds Barred Extra. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel, the Kimmelnator. Ready to go, brother. What's up, Josh? What's up, dude?
Man, it is a wonderful day every time I get to speak with you and all of my no hold barred maniacs out there. Let me tell you something. This video, let's get right into it, is going to hit me hard. I'm going to have opinions. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to go through them all today. Every emotion, I think, I'm going to hit.
You're going to go through all of them. Yeah,
Yes.
this is a show, absolutely. We had to come back. Usually we air Saturdays at 5 p.m. We're currently in our WrestleMania Rewind series. We're getting to WrestleMania 9 in Vegas, so we're excited about that. So tune in on Saturday. But this was a topic we absolutely had to get together and talk about because on No Holds Barred, our regular show, we try to stick to, now we're sticking to the old days, or just documentaries and stuff like that, reacting, talking about special topics, not really current events. You can catch that on Real Talk Wrestling on Thursday nights on FTSN Extra. But we had to talk about this because we didn't do a WrestleMania post show. We didn't react to what happened at WrestleMania with Lesnar and Oba Femi and so forth. And, so I wanted to talk about what we thought of the match, or at least the result of the match. Oba going over, Brock laying his boots in the ring, and, what seemed to be the perfect send-off to what happened the other night on Raw with Brock making his return, So we had to get together and do this. So first off, to all those who are tuning in, whether before, during the live show here now or post show after, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the Finns Talk Sports Network, FTSN. We appreciate you tuning in. But Josh, my man, so yeah, first let's get into what the story is here. It's, of course, Brock and Oba Femi pre-WrestleMania. The build, Brock could not get the upper hand on Oba whatsoever. Oba kept going over and destroying him. You go to WrestleMania. We talked about our expectations on the Rainy Day podcast, to Raw for SmackDown, where we thought, since Brock was always getting destroyed, that, hey, maybe potentially Brock is gonna go over. That's not the case. Oba goes over big time. Oba tips his cap walking up the ramp like, hey, thank you. Brock stays in the ring, starts to take off his gloves and his boots. Paul Heyman sells it. Brock sells it, tears in hands. Fans are going crazy. Thank you, Brock. Clapping, cheering, all that whatnot. Like maybe the perfect send-off for any wrestler without knowing. It seems so Brock Lesnar to do something against, or not letting the company know, because nobody knew supposedly that he was going to do that. Paul Heyman, you can see Paul Heyman rubbing his eyes and, maybe to make himself look cry now that you think about it, when they showed the side camera. But it was the perfect send-off, but again, made a lot of sense because, it was like, hey, nobody had this idea that he was going to retire right now, even though Brock said we should hit. The rumor was, or the report was, that Brock and Paul Heyman said Brock should not lose until he's about to retire. That came out before WrestleMania. So when he lost, I'm like, damn, he lost so fast. And then when you see him take off the boots, it's like, it made sense, and when they said, oh, nobody knew he was going to do that, I was like, that is Brock Lesnar. He would do that. He would do something without telling the company and just do it his own way. Like Frank Sinatra, my way. It seems so Brock Lesnar. So it was, and quote unquote, as it was happening, whether you love or hate Brock Lesnar, it was an end of an era. It was like, damn, man, one of the best ever just stepped away. And what a storybook ending it was. Put someone like Oba Femi over as in his last match. And to let him get squashed in that way, like you kind of leave respecting Brock a little more, at least in the wrestling genre compared to real life or however you feel about him.
Listen. I'm reading the comments. I'm getting upset.
Uh-oh.
What a perfect way to end your career if you're Brock Lesnar. Go out your way. Go out authentic. Go out genuine. Make people like Josh Kimmel, who don't like you, care. Make the world care. And then you do this. It's just so ingenuous. As people go, Clutch here on Real Talk Wrestling. He's like, oh, this is like, he was so snooty with me. Like, oh, just because you didn't like it, or I don't know. He didn't say that. I'm sorry. He said something of the line like, this isn't the first retirement, and kind of mentioned Mark Henry and all these other people. But here's the issue with that. Those were angles on a TV show that paid off literally within seconds of them doing it. Right? Now you look at all the, like Mark Henry, literally it paid off within seconds of him retiring. So it was a true angle. You can't really be upset about it because it's part of the show. Or this, it didn't feel part of the show. Brock Lesnar never slapped hands with fans. Brock Lesnar never showed emotion like that. Brock Lesnar only broke character when R-Truth made him, when he made him laugh. Other than that, Brock Lesnar was always Brock Lesnar. So that moment really showed fans that, wow, this is real. That's not my problem. My problem is to pay off this angle. If this was the plan the whole time, let's say this was the exact plan. Everything was a work. Everything is a work up to this point. Let's say the retirement was fake. You didn't need to do this to trick Oba Femi. You could have just went away, have the open challenge, have Oba beat a couple guys, and then Brock finally answered, because guess what? Oba answered his open challenge. It makes sense per story. We would all been like, oh, this makes sense. This is cool. But you did the fake retirement and you pissed a lot of people off. Although it was a cool moment, don't get me wrong. I said this on Real Talk Wrestling as well. Cool moment, but you didn't need to go that far. You could have just, it's like when you're trying to impress a girl or whatever. You don't need to do all of it's like watching an AEW match. You don't need to do every move in the history of moves to win. Sometimes you could just win. You didn't need to fake retire to fake out everybody just to answer an open challenge. You could have just done it and you would have got the same reaction. That's all. That's all. You know what? Great retirement match. Tainted now. Tainted. One of the best moments. One of the only bright spots of WrestleMania this year. Think about it. Tainted now. Doesn't mean anything. Squat. Jack. Nothing. Meaningless now. So that WrestleMania is even worse than what it was before. Even worse.
So, and again, I will say to that point, because you're right, if it stayed the same, if it was genuine, it was one of the better WrestleMania moments of all time. Again, whether you love or hate Brock Lesnar, you're like, damn, that's one of the greatest of all time, stepping away. And you could tell he actually cares about the business because, I know Brock does. Brock has said it before. He's been offended when people call wrestling fake. He beat the out of somebody in MMA and UFC when the guy came in, this is not this fake wrestling. He went, all right. And he whooped his ass, in the ring in MMA. And so I know what Brock feels about professional wrestling. However, To me, my perception of Brock is this is always just a business. This is business. This is not a passion. This is to make money and go home. That was always my perception of Brock Lesnar. So when I saw his reaction at WrestleMania with the tears in his eyes, taking off the shoelaces, and people are saying no, 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 and Paul Heyman is crying, and I'm looking at Brock and I'm like, damn, he does care. He does have these feelings about wrestling. He doesn't want to step away. This is hard for him, and then this happens. And I just want to say, to your point, right? You're like, man, then it kills that genuine moment. And it does. But I'll go back to this. This is so Brock Lesnar. You know how that saying, F those kids, F them kids, F them kids, Michael Jordan, Brock, F your feelings, F them kids. He said that, when he talked about that guy's kids. I forgot his name right now, but that's what Brock is. Brock don't care about our feelings. He don't care about your feelings. He know what he knew. It just tells you how good Brock is as an actor too, that he made you believe that his moment was real. Now, if this was the plan, I have to assume it was. I have to, right? Like, first off, Oba Femi sold it as well if this was the plan, because Oba, you could see the genuine respect that Oba Femi has for Brock Lesnar. When he came out of the ring, he did the tip of the hat, like, thank you, thank you for putting me over at WrestleMania and making me look that good. In regards of why Brock did not just answer the challenge and not attack from behind, honestly, it makes sense why he would attack from behind and not from the front, because of the very reason what we talked about before. Every time he did face Oba head on, he got laid out. So the best thing you could do for Brock was to come and attack him from behind, not the big music, not the here I come, because Oba knows how to handle you. That's been proven time and time again. So he has to attack Oba from behind. Now is what happens from here. And before we get into what happens from here, what is the next step here for this match and where it should go, or this rivalry, which I think is great for Oba Femi. This is a great springboard for Oba Femi for, again, to have this challenge against one of the best of all time. He put him over at WrestleMania, but what's the next step here? Because the reason why it's so great is for the very reason was a special topic on your show, Real Talk Wrestling, on Thursday night on FTSN Extra, was the open challenge for Oba Femi. And you talked about how it kind of stalled him a little bit. Talk about what you guys discussed on that show and leading up before Brock's attack. What were your feelings on Oba Femi in this open challenge and post WrestleMania, his run?
Yeah, we talked about it right after WrestleMania and him facing off against Otis and how meaningless it was, but it was still cool to see him throw Otis around. And then all of a sudden it went from throwing Otis around to just finding two jobber tag team members and throwing them around. And at that point we were just done with the gimmick, because it was over. They crushed, just like WWE and TKO always does. They crush good gimmicks, and they were trying to ruin Oba Femi. It really felt like that. And that was the consensus. And I'll say this, I still feel that way. If he loses to Brock in Italy, what was the point of anything? What was the purpose of anything? If all this was to have him lose right after beating him, that takes a lot of aura away from Oba Femi, to me, in my opinion. I think Oba has to win again, and it needs to be over. But we all know it's not going to be over. Bobby, I have a theory before we get into what's coming up next and all that junk. What if Brock never said he retired? No one ever said he retired. Paul said something at the beginning of the Monday Night Raw after Mania. What if he was just saying, this is my last WrestleMania? What if he was like, this is it, my last big show, my last WrestleMania? Because he knows he's retiring in SummerSlam in Minnesota, is where he hails from, right? That was always the perception of he's going to retire at SummerSlam. If I'm going old school here, racing's on the mind, but if Jeff Gordon announced, this is my final year in NASCAR, which he did a long time ago, and he was going to do Daytona 500, it's the first race of the year, they would do a big thing for him as that's his last Daytona 500. Maybe Brock was just stating this is my last WrestleMania. So like I'm just want to put that out there for all the fans that are like me who are upset because I'm going through all the emotions. I understand it. It's business. It's for the business. It could have been real, genuine. That's what we all want in life. We watch sports and stuff like this because we want to relate to it because it's genuine. We care about the Dolphins so much here on the FTSN network because we want to relate to that team. We want them to think that they care about winning just as much as we do. So when we see someone like Brock Lesnar do that to us, to me, we take to me. You heard how I said that? It's personal.
Yeah,
it is. So I have no problem with anyone emotions being upset or feeling like robbed. Imagine if you were there. You could have said for like 30 days, I was at Brock Lesnar's last match.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can't say it. Like it's over. It's done. But you could have said that about Ric Flair because I was at that WrestleMania.
I was at that WrestleMania too. Yep.
Could say that about Shawn Michaels when he retired. Like you could McFoley. So many guys you could have said that for. So I get it. You're never really retired until you're dead. I understand that. And it doesn't seem like if AJ Styles came back, I'd be just as upset. I'm just saying I would be just as upset. Anyway, Bobby, I'm sorry. I just took that, your question, I balled it up and I said, I'm going to answer something else. I'm Roddy Piper today. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, what can you do? I get it. I will say, first off, your point in regards of the second match that's eventually going to come. What's it? Clash of what? Where are they going to be at now?
Italy. Clash
of Italy, right? So saying Oba's supposed to go over. This is why, like for me, if the plan was originally, hey, they're going to do 2 matches. Hey, they're going to do a trilogy. Then Brock should have went over at WrestleMania. Make it the hill that Oba has to climb before he makes his eventual run to the World Championship, if that's the plan. But because you built Oba up and you had him wipe out the beast, which is fine if that means you were wiping him out. And if Brock was to come back, he wouldn't touch Oba Femi. Let's say like, hey, he comes back, he goes after somebody else. He doesn't go after Oba Femi because he knows better. And maybe Oba's now like, hey, Brock is back. I'm coming after him. I'm going to take him out of here. Like, if you're going to bring Brock back, like, I understand the point. Oh, Brock has to take Oba. Now Brock is going to make his mission to wipe out Oba Femi before he goes after maybe Gunther. If Gunther beats Cody Rhodes, do we have Brock versus Gunther for the world title after he wipes out Oba Femi? Is that the plan? Now the John Cena squash match with Brock made Oba look stronger because, John couldn't do anything to Brock. Oba squashes Brock. Now Brock comes back. Brock is meaner, madder than ever, But again, to me, then Brock should have went over on Oba, unless the plan is Brock and Gunther, because you need to make Gunther look strong. Now, I get it. I understand it. Okay. I want to talk about very quick the reactions, because you're right. There are a lot of people who are angry, but WWE, now TKO, which is its own other show that we could talk about, TKO, because I saw something today and I'm like, okay, there was some stuff that was absolutely legit that we should bitch and complain about, but there's other things like, hey, WWE did the same stuff. Let's slow down. However, talking about this, because I said I need to go back and kind of find people's reactions on this, because I know what my reaction is, because that's what WWE goes for. It's the pop. It's the nostalgia kick. It's the whatever, even though this is not nostalgia because he's current. Goldberg is nostalgia. You hear the dum, oh, it's Goldberg. This is, so I was like, I know my kids popped. I popped. Brock, so I was like, let me go check, because I figured, I thought what Josh may say. I figured like, I know what he's probably going to go at here. So I went back and I watched some streamers' reactions to the Brock attack.
Of course you did.
I just had to go back and look. I had to go see what other people.
I don't care what these streamers are talking about.
I know.
They're just trying to get on TV. They say, WWE uses our videos now. If I give them the biggest, oh my God, Brock is back reaction, maybe I'll get on TV. Come on, brother. You can't use that as evidence.
But
Fernando, hold on. I just want to say he meant to say if this was the plan, he thinks Brock Lesnar should have went over. We all agree Oba Femi should have won WrestleMania, and that's the way it should have ended. Bobby was saying if this was the plan all along.
Yeah. No, I again, I said if the plan was for Brock not to retire or to come back and attack Oba Femi and continue this story, then Brock should have went over because it was the first match. If you're gonna make a trilogy, you don't make the underdog or the babyface win. Rocky 2 doesn't mean shit if he beat Apollo Creed and Rocky won. Like, what's the story if he beat Apollo and Rocky won? What's the story? What's the story in Rocky 3 if Rocky in the first match against Clubber Lang beats Clubber Lang? What's the story? Who gives a crap? Who cares about the end of the movie when he eventually beats Clubber Lang? And avenge Mickey's death. What's the point? There's no point. What's the story if Apollo Creed beats Ivan Drago at the beginning and then with the there's no story. The babyface should lose if there's a trilogy or if there's another match. So that way the babyface looks like he's getting over something. That's the point. So no, I'm not saying that should have been the case all along. I'm saying if we're gonna do a trilogy or 2 matches, then Brock should have went over at Mania. So Oba Femi goes over and he looks bigger and better. Maybe Brock should have, squashed him. And so that way when Oba Femi comes back and stronger and bigger and badder than ever, for a young guy to go over, it's not about just going over one match, because guess what happened when Brock beat Oba? Did Oba all of a sudden become a main event star? Did he all of a sudden go for the title? No. He's going after Tarazawa and Otis and shit on Monday Night Raw. That was the point of beating Brock? Going against a bunch of mid-card, low-card guys? Top of the card guys? That's the reason why you put him over? The reason putting a guy over is not just about letting him win a match and let's go ahead and put him against a bunch of nobodies. Putting a guy over is, hey, we're going to put you over and now we're going to put you to the top. WrestleMania, Oba Femi did not skyrocket him to the main event card. Maybe, just maybe, after this trilogy, that's what this does. Maybe, just maybe, Brock beats him. Brock goes to Gunther. Maybe lays out Gunther. Maybe Oba beats Brock and wins the title. And there's the end of the story at SummerSlam. Maybe. But let's not pretend, he had to put him over. It was WrestleMania. He's the young guy. What would it matter if he ended up being a nobody? There's a lot of people who, I love Oba Femi. I want him to go over. I use him all the time in 2K. He's my champion in my regular universe, not my WCW universe, because he's a baby. But in my regular, he's the champion. He's big, he's bad, he's all of above. But what had happened to him after WrestleMania? Nothing. That's why Josh was complaining. That's why we complain. What are we doing with Oba Femi? He should go on to the next guy. Instead of instead of Jacob Fatu going after Roman,
should have been Oba.
It should have been Oba Femi. He made the challenge. He called him out after WrestleMania. I would have been more interested in Oba going after Roman than Jacob Fatu. And I like Jacob. But Jacob had no push before WrestleMania. He didn't have no major thing at WrestleMania. Oba did. So I don't believe in that whole, because he's younger, because he's the up-and-comer, he should go over. There has to be a story to this. There has to be a reason. It seems no reason. So, yes, I believe Oba should have went over, only if it was the one-time match. It wasn't.
Should have been. But now we're here. Now we're sitting here.
Now let's talk about match 2, where it's coming.
Goodness.
Because Clash of Italy, right?
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? Because again, this only makes sense now. I know your first point before. Oba has to go over twice. To me, that would not make sense. No.
That's not what I would do.
No, I know, but you said that earlier. You said Oba needs to go over twice.
Yeah.
But to me, that would not make sense, because if you're going to do, to me, this is a trilogy now. You can't have just 2 matches and then this is the end of the story. This has to be Brock, like Goldberg. When Goldberg squashed Brock came back and took out Goldberg at WrestleMania. This has to be now Brock taking out Oba, and then Oba now taking out Brock or wherever from here. Because if you let Brock, if Oba goes over again, how could you take Brock seriously against Gunther or against anybody? You can't. You can't. Oba has shown that he could. Go ahead. Good.
Well, I was just going to say, like, this is a stacked Italy card. Stacked. Like, completely stacked. We have Roman Reigns defending the championship against Jacob Fatu. We have Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill again for the championship. We have Becky Lynch, Ruka for the championship, Intercontinental. I believe we have, did I already say Cody? It's Cody wrestling, Cody Gunther. So all the championships, like all the big, then we have Brock Lesnar, Oba Femi. There's no Danhausen match this time around. There's no Charlotte Flair nonsense tag team match. There's none of that nonsense. It's all
disrespectful.
It's all. Listen, I watched Saturday Night Main Event. I watched Saturday Night Main Event, brother. And when she came out, opened up the show turned off.
You're
all right,
so damn disrespectful. She's so good, dude. The fans finally love her. They respect her. She's awesome. And that's a whole other show too. That I'll talk to you after the show because I don't want to take up the time, but that's a whole other thing.
Anyway, my point is this: there's going to be a lot of finishes that matter. Like a lot. I think we're going to see a title change. I think we are going to see a title change of some sort. I don't think we even need a finish here in this Brock Lesnar Oba Femi. I think the belt doesn't even need a ring. I think we can just go Brock Lesnar totally annihilates him, like just beats the holy hell out of Oba Femi. So did Brock Lesnar finally take this guy out, right? And then we see Oba Femi come back, and then they have their second match at SummerSlam because this match officially never happened since Brock just ambushed him or whatever the case may be. Or they just have a brawl that lasts like 15 minutes or whatever the case. But they don't need to have a finish. This feud has been built on chaos. So if you add more chaos before the SummerSlam match, that's how you can get it to work. And the fans won't feel cheapened by this crappy finish because, again, you're going to have the Jacob Fatu Roman finish. You're going to have the Cody Gunther finish. You're going to have a lot of, like, I think, solid finishes. So this is your one F finish you could have that actually makes sense so everyone's protected. That's what I would do. Because since we're here, that's how I would book it. I don't know.
I know. I absolutely love that. I would love that. That protects Oba from losing a match against Brock. If like Oba comes out, you have the music and Brock comes from behind and just attacks him and just, like you said, lays him out. Leaves him in the middle of the ring. There's no match. They're trying to break it up. You don't even get that match. You basically get a brawl, but not even a brawl. Brock just lays him out, and that takes him out for a little while. And maybe Brock turns his attention to Gunther, and somehow, some way, I don't know. Maybe Brock has one more little tiny run, and Oba comes out and takes that belt from him at SummerSlam. Maybe.
To be clear,
I
don't want Brock and Gunther, to be clear.
I understand. But obviously, but that's just the underlying thing that people think that's going to go down. That's why we bring that up, because we think that's the most obvious route to Brock and Gunther, or what it's like the obvious pairing, right? I like that. If they could do that, I'd feel a whole lot better about it. Because again, if you were going to have Brock beat Oba, should have been at WrestleMania, and then Oba gets his win back and looks stronger. But now that Oba won, best thing to do would be for Brock just to lay him out at a Clash of Italy, not even have a match. Just like, oh my God, he destroyed Oba. Oba's hurt. Oba's gone. And Oba comes back stronger than ever to take that run, wherever that may be, championship, whatever. Love it. I'm not even going to add, I won't even throw another scenario. That's a scenario I want.
And then we get Brock Lesnar, Oba Femi 2 at SummerSlam. And then we can see Oba Femi beat him again. And then Brock Lesnar can go off in Minnesota. We don't need to see Gunther. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Because he's going to lose to Cody. And therefore, Gunther's now no longer a legend killer. That gimmick can die now. We don't need it. And then, because it's not needed. How many more legends can be killed? It's not needed. It was a good little run. And then we can go back to normal. and then we could have Cody and do his little thing on SmackDown. And then we could have Oba Femi hopefully aiming towards Roman Reigns at WrestleMania or wherever the path may be soon, but we don't need Brock Lesnar back. Although it was a cool moment. Cool.
It was a cool moment. That's what this is about. The moments, you know. The IWC gets mad about the overall thing, but they don't pay attention to the things, the moments. Fernando says, what's the story if Luke beats Vader in Empire Strikes Back? Absolutely. You get it. But Oba Femi's with Femi. If you're going to argue a point, know how to spell the name.
Is that how you spell it? I'm so bad with names, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. It does make sense. Muhammad Ali beat Sonny Liston twice in a row. That's life. That's real life. That's not a movie. We're talking about
stories.
No,
in my scenario, Brock's getting beat twice in a row. In my scenario.
Yeah,
listen.
Exactly. But again, and he said Oba should not lose to Brock, which in your scenario works.
Yep.
In your scenario, that works because Brock is not beating Oba. He's beating him up. He's laying him out from behind, right? To me, that works. That protects Oba.
Let me bring this scenario out to you.
Okay.
Just one scenario. Let's say they do have the match and Brock Lesnar wins. Oba goes away for a while. Would that deflate Oba's? It's more of a question. Wouldn't you think that deflates Oba Femi if he goes away for a little bit? That's the thing which I'm worried about, Bobby, is if you want him to go towards Gunther, it just seems too AEW, as in there's too much going on. Keep it simple, keep the story simple as possible, because that's how fans latch on to stories. I think going all these route is too much. How say you? So
I understand your question. I'll say yes and no. Yes, maybe for someone on the top of their game going against, like Gunther right now. Gunther, retirement, John Cena, AJ Styles, just wiping people out. If he went away, that takes away from that. That takes away from that run. Oba Femi, no. They don't have anything for Oba. He took out Brock. Brock is his story. Because when Brock was away for a couple weeks, what did Oba do? Absolutely nothing. Took out Otis, took out Taco, whatever. He took those guys. Those were the guys he was going against. Did you care? What did you do when Oba came out to face those guys? Probably went and go get some milk, some leche, right? You probably walked away.
Definitely get some leche.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So nobody gives a damn. So what's the point if Brock wipes him out and he doesn't go away and he's doing these open challenges or going against whomever, whatever, he's not going against the top talent. Let's say he's going against, I don't know, let's throw some random ass name out there, Austin Theory. Now he has a match. Now he's challenging the Vision, right? And he's Logan Paul and them. He's fighting them. He's destroying them around the ring. Is that interesting to you? Does that catch you on? Or let's just say, for shits and giggles, right? It's SummerSlam, right? We're thinking SummerSlam. But let's just say, for your point, Brock wipes him out. Let's say goes all the way to WrestleMania where we don't see Oba. Oba's out. The Royal Rumble, excuse me. Oba's gone. We know how big Oba is. We know how much fans love Oba Femi. We love Oba Femi. Brock is in the Rumble. He's dominating. 3, 2, 1. Oba's music hits. Fans would go nuts. You've protected him. He's out. You leave the fans wanting more. He's music hit. Or he takes Oba. Brock takes Oba out here at Clash of Italy. You don't hear or see Oba. He's out. He's hurt. You got to make it look bad. Busted open. This is bad. Oba's hurt. You protect Oba by keeping him off TV. You don't put him against stupid ass matches. You don't do none of that. The goal is here. The goal should be after this run with Brock, after this program with Brock, Oba is going to look unbeatable. He's going to look like, hey, Roman is the guy. Jacob Fatu should not beat Roman Reigns at Clash of Italy. Roman needs to go over. Roman needs to hold this title for as long as possible for the sense of dropping it to Oba Femi. But the only way you make that look good or feasible is you keep Oba off TV. Don't put him against a bunch of rugrats, against nobodies. Don't do that. You don't need that. You know, you can't put him against a bunch of bigger names because that's what Gunther's doing. Gunther's in that role right now. That Gunther would be hurt if he was to jump off TV right now. That would weaken his stance. Right now, he's in prime position. He should beat Cody Rhodes. He should beat Cody Rhodes. Okay? But you take Oba off TV, and when Brock is in that program, or when Brock is about to go to SummerSlam, whatever, Brock is dominating somebody, you hear the dum, 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 dum. The fans are going to go crazy. He goes over, he wipes Brock out again, and then he looks right at Roman Reigns at the end of SummerSlam, or goes right at Roman whenever. That should be the program right. That's what you do with him. So great question. Yes and no, but it's a yes or no. Yes for someone like a Gunther. No for Oba Femi. Oba needs that. Oba needs to get away so he can come back stronger. Because you know, what did he do to Brock? He destroyed Brock. But what did he do after that? A bunch of nobodies. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing? Well, the final word, I will say this. You said the goal here is to make Oba Femi look as unbeatable as possible. I would say mission accomplished at WrestleMania. Mission was accomplished. They did their job. So we are just putting a brawl on top of a brawl, as my grandmother would say. We are, you know what we're doing? We're peeling an orange and we're wrapping it with saran wrap. We already had the protection, buddy. We had the orange peels. What are we doing? He was already ready. But that being said, what did you guys think about this whole Brock Lesnar returning? Did Oba Femi need this? Do we need a trilogy? Do you want to see a trilogy? I need to know. Comment down below. If you want more of these videos, please hit the like button. Subscribe to Finn's Talk Sports Network, FTS and Extra as well. That's where I do my Real Talk Wrestling with Clutch, El Ginger Americano, and myself, where I just complain about wrestling throughout the week. Bobby and I, we do No Holds Barred every single Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We do, right now we're talking WrestleMania rewinds. We're up to WrestleMania 8, the best WrestleMania so far, up to date, by the way. Had the 2 best matches. We were live on Saturday, so go check that out on the channel. Bobby, anything else you want to promote before we log out of here?
No, man. I mean, again, what's today's Monday? Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Fernando, thank you for tuning in and participating and commenting. Even though we disagree, I do appreciate you commenting, man, and putting your point of view out there. We respect you. We appreciate you, brother. Please join us again on Saturday and for all these other extra episodes. Maria, appreciate you. See you pop in there. She says Double or Nothing was the best event of 2026, just because MJF won, which is the right way to go. I'm so sick of the gym rat winning. Don't you like the story, Josh? Josh, you
Yes.
don't like the story? You like
I love all the stories. Shout out to Maria, because I heard Double or Nothing was the best event ever. I'll take your word for it. Honestly, I'll take your word for it. People actually thought Darby Allin was gonna win.
Yeah, they thought this guy was going to go bald. Come on now. Come on now. The world is right again in AEW. MJF is the champion, as it should be. But no, guys, listen, today's Monday. Happy Memorial Day. For Wednesday, we got On Deck Baseball Podcast, East Century Boys. Thursday, Finn's Talk Today for Dolphin fans. And then, of course, we'll be back on Saturday, No Holds Barred Wrestling, for the WrestleMania 9 Rewind. We'll talk about, obviously the infamous main event, Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, and Hogan, of course, eventually winning that title. We'll talk about that. There's no spoiler there. We all know how that ended up. So, but we're going to watch that. I'm excited to do that. And in WrestleMania 10, the Saturday after. And then we'll do a special episode about kind of rebooking the main events of WrestleMania, like what should have been the main event, or maybe a main event should have stayed the same, like Hogan and Andre, right? Like, I don't know if you would have changed that. I don't think you would. But, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, if that was the plan with Hogan and Yokozuna, do you change that? So, maybe WrestleMania 2, King Kong Bundy, Hogan, would you change that? I would have. But we're going to get into all of that, so make sure you tune that. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure you watch No Holds Barred on Saturday. If you like sports, you love sports, check out FTSN. You got Fantasy Now Plus. We got fantasy sports, wrestling, baseball, hockey, football, college sports. We got it all here. Basketball. So make sure you subscribe. We appreciate you. Enjoy your Memorial Day and your week. We'll see you on Saturday.